I'm over here trying to give myself a concussion. I just hit my head on that corner there.
Oh, no. Oh.
Is it bad?
Move your hand. I can see an indent, but it's not bleeding.
I think our podcast might actually improve if I had a concussion. Might be a little more coherent.
I brought my laptop out.
Oh, yeah, you don't normally have your laptop. That's right.
No. I go by vibes only. I also have no notes for my tangent.
Oh, you just going off the cuff? Or?
Yeah, I'm going off the cuff. I thought about this today. I thought it'd be interesting.
Star Wars, Transformers, Godzilla, animation, whatever else. Rebels, robots, and etc.
Wait, so if you don't have notes for your tangent, why do you have your laptop out? Because you still need it. You need the reference material.
I need a reference material.
Okay, I see. So it's still relevant. It's reason for the tangent. Which is our topic for today. It's Starformers Night. Welcome to Rebels and Robots and etc. Episode 87. I'm Cameron.
I'm Rachel.
And this is our bi-weekly chat about Star Wars and...
Tangents.
Tangents about Star Wars and Transformers and whatever else we both want to talk about. I don't know what Rachel's tangent is about. She doesn't know what my tangent's about. This is a tangent episode, which is something we've only done once before. It's already been like 8 months. It was like December, I think. Actually, wait, no, hold on. That can't be correct because we were doing, was it maybe early December? No, it was January, I think. Or February. What am I thinking? Okay, but it has been over 6 months. Since we did a tangent episode. So here we are back again. I just realized, I don't know if we're, when does the Lego thing come out?
September.
I know that. Brick, what's it called?
Rebuild the Galaxy.
Lego Star Wars Rebuild. Yeah, there's a second series coming out this month. Oh,
the 13th.
Wow, it's coming out. Okay.
On Saturday.
Crazy. That will probably be... So our plan was for...
No, that was last year.
Oh, you're right. Good catch.
The 19th.
That makes more sense.
10 days from now.
We still might wait because we had a planned birthday episode for me. And I have a plan for that episode. So that'll Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past will be our next episode after that. We waited like a month to cover it last year anyway, so just keeping with tradition.
It's dinner time for Athena. Yeah, hear a crash.
But before we get to our tangents, and you can anticipate this section is also going to be full tangents, it's news, woos, and booze. I actually have 2 this week. What do you...
I have one thing of news. Actually, I have one thing of official news, and then 2 things I want to talk about that aren't really news, but they're not memes. So take a drink, everyone. The first one is... Oh, I forgot to bring it up when we talked about the Shin Godzilla episode. So not to talk about Shin Godzilla in this episode, but it's going to happen. Because we were talking about the tracks for it. And I texted you afterward. There's one track in particular that is not from another movie. Most of the... Mm-hmm. And it's Persecution of the Masses, which is not the opera theme. That's Who Will Know. Phenomenal track. It's my favorite of the movie. But we talked about how goofy Shin Godzilla is in his first iterations. Big, goofy, fishy, very fleshy. And this is the track that starts to play. It's very ominous. It's very dreadful. This is the track that starts to play when he's actually kind of out of the river and tearing through cities. And so this is the scene where he's actually kind of on the road at this point. We have witnessed wormy Shin Godzilla.
I like the idea of him on the road, like he's on like a big Harley or something, but he wouldn't be able to reach the handlebars of a Harley.
He ain't got no arms. This track culminates in it's funny. Our friend Caleb Jacoby, who is also our music producer for the podcast,
correct,
was losing his mind. And we talked about that. I just thought he just got such a chuckle out of Shin Godzilla. Really brought a lot of joy to the theater because I heard other people laugh after he lost it. Shin Godzilla basically hits immovable force in the form of a skyscraper and basically just pivots until he actually stands vertically. But in doing so, he knocks down a skyscraper. And I think this is actually the first time we see casualties on screen directly. I mean, it's fairly implied, obviously. And we see that with the family still in the skyscraper, falling in the skyscraper. But I texted Cameron that as funny as that early Shin Godzilla view is, this is what makes him stand up vertically. And it's once he stands up vertically that you kind of, along with the culmination of the music, you go, oh, this is a Godzilla film. Anyways, I just wanted to include that because I think it's that kind of moment where you go, oh yeah, this is a Godzilla film. This is bad Godzilla film. Not bad as in it's a bad movie, as in a negative incarnation of Godzilla. Anyways.
Well, on the news front,
enough about Shinny.
The major news, as far as podcast relevant content goes.
You blocked our editor access to her water.
Good. She's not. She could easily navigate around.
No, she won't.
Fine. I think she just disliked the idea of it being blocked. She didn't actually want any water.
She also dislikes that too.
So she's trying to get in the bag.
No, she's just sniffing.
So
you don't know her
big
behavior.
news. They're actually making a Star Wars movie.
They are. I had this too.
They started shooting Star Wars Starfighter. I'm shocked. I'm so shocked this is actually in production right now.
Oh, mine is actually different because mine is that they've started the casting too.
Well, I would hope that they started casting before they started shooting.
Well, they have announced the other people in the cast for the most part.
Well, we talked a lot about this. Is it anyone new from the last time we talked?
So, of course, Ryan Gosling, Flynn Gray, Matt Smith is confirmed. Mia Goth.
Which I learned an interesting thing about why, the exact details about why he's not in 9. So go ahead and finish your list.
Okay. Aaron Pierre, Simon Bird, Jamel Westman, Daniel Ings, and Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, yeah, that's right. That's a surprising one.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel like she's quite famous and quite recognizable. Probably most famous. I feel like she's been in at least one movie everyone has seen.
Enchanted.
Enchanted is for a lot of people our age, especially young women who grew up with that Disney film.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Has anyone seen that movie?
I have
You've seen Hillbilly Elegy.
I've seen Hillbilly Elegy.
We need to talk about this after.
I watched it in college.
That's crazy.
I saw a clip of it on social media and I went, I'll watch it. For those of you that don't know, Hillbilly Elegy is based off of the book that Vice President J.D. Vance wrote about his upbringing.
That's a joke, right? Is that?
I'm dead serious. Do I have my people mixed up?
I have a hard time thinking that Ron Howard made a movie based on a book. It totally is. What the crap? I didn't know this. What?
I'm looking very smug right now for those of you not in the room.
What? I had no idea.
Yes, it's an autobiography.
Just another insane level to this movie that I obviously didn't know that much. His IMDb photo is hilarious.
I thought you were going to turn around and it was going to be the meme photo.
It's pretty much, it's almost identical.
See, she was thirsty.
So funny. What the heck? How is that even possible? Anyways.
Well, a lot of people can get self-published nowadays.
But the fact that Ron Howard, very famous liberal, made that movie, that's crazy. Anyways.
Well,
Amy Adams. Also, Glenn Close's character's name in that movie is just credited as Mama.
Yeah. Mama.
Good stuff. Just Arrival. We can talk about that in a minute.
Well, you
I didn't bring mine. She's also in Arrival. She's the main character in that. She played the last Lois Lane in the Snyder movies. Snyder Superman movies, that is. She's in Her, American Hustle, The Master, the last Muppets movie. I feel like there's a great chance everyone listening has seen at least one of those movies. I forgot that she played Amelia Earhart Night at the Museum. She's actually not been in that many movies considering how famous she is.
She makes her money and goes for it.
I forgot she's in Catch Me If You Can. Anyways, I hope she does a good job.
We're getting a new movie, y'all.
Yeah, it's...
Until they tax deduct it.
you know, it's never impossible. But anyways, is it called just Starfighter? Is that the official title?
Star Wars: Starfighter. That's what they're calling it now.
For anyone forgetting, this is, as we said, starring Ryan Gosling. It's the big
produced by Sean Levy.
Well, directed by.
Or did I say? Sorry, it's
probably produced by as well, but
Levy
more importantly, directed.
And Kathleen Kennedy, and also directed by Sean Levy. Executive producers are Ryan Gosling.
Nice.
Dan Levine, Mary McLaglen, and I'm sorry.
And Rachel's dying over
Josh
there.
McLaglen, and the script is by Jonathan Tropper.
So McLaughlin gets a lot of phlegm going on.
Yeah. you know what? So Amy, you mentioned Amy Adams hasn't been in a lot of stuff. You know what I feel like she kind of looks like? Who she kind of looks like?
Who's that?
Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Okay, you've done this once before. Ryan Reynolds is not in this movie.
I know.
The first time we talked, I'm just double checking.
Let me finish. So I think they kind of look a little like.
I don't think so.
Conspiracy theory. What if they had thought to hire Blake Lively in this film, and then everything went down between her and Justin Baldoni, and they went, maybe not. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the drama you're talking about. I think that's quite the stretch to think that they were going to hire Blake Lively and pivoted to Amy Adams. Because I don't think they look anything alike. The only connection there is that Sean Levy directed Deadpool and Wolverine. That's like the only tenuous connection going on at all anywhere here.
That doesn't take much for Blake Lively to just show up on set and do stuff, right?
Anyways, Sean Levy has two very distinct times. Actually, kind of three. Well, he's a weird director. He started off doing like family films. Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, The Pink Panther. And then he pivoted to like family adventure CGI movies. The original two Ninth Museums, which explains the Amy Adams connection, and Real Steel, which is actually pretty decent. The movie Real Steel, which is Hugh Jackman. It's pretty much
also a connection
Robots, the movie.
to Deadpool.
That's true. He actually directed all three Ninth Museum movies, and then in 2021 he directs Free Guy. In 2022, he directs Adam Project. And in 2024, he does Deadpool and Wolverine. So in 3 separate years within a 4-year span, he directs 3 Ryan Reynolds films.
That makes me that just makes me wonder.
Which are all big CGI, especially the Adam Project being science fiction. Free Guy, kind of science fiction-y. He also directed 8 episodes of Stranger Things, which I did not know. And
that just makes me wonder, Cameron.
So, people say Adam Project is okay.
I've never seen it. I don't even know what that is.
It's. I mean, if you look at the poster, it looks very 80s science fiction-y. This looks like a Star Wars poster almost.
Floating Head trilogy. Okay.
Yeah. But he has never made a movie that I felt like.
Oh, the Percy Jackson kid's in it. Walker Scobell.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I guess what I'm saying is I think his movies are all. The director's almost irrelevant. Like anyone could have directed those movies. So I don't know how much I feel like Star Wars is so much better when there's a strong creative voice behind it. But we'll see. We definitely have talked about this before. In other news, and what's really the important news of the day, a post that I thought was a dumb meme, but actually turned out to be 100% true because it's a legitimate post by the Godzilla account. Godzilla Clue is a real thing.
I almost screenshotted that for news, but then I thought you said I figured I said I'm gonna pull this up and Cameron's gonna say it's dumb.
It is dumb. That's why
it's fun. We're not
but you
fun.
don't. What I'm mad about though is it does seem to have analogous characters you play as to Clue, like the Colonel Mustard and all that, rather than you getting to play as the monsters who investigating the death of a different monster who murdered Godzilla. So
who murdered Mothra?
It's a murder mystery on the island, but the monsters are pieces. But do you know what? They're probably the murder weapons. Is probably what it is.
Do you think there's any remains left if you get got by Ghidorah?
Oh, okay. It's up to you to solve the mystery. Who is the kaiju holding Manila hostage? So it's not a murder mystery.
It's a hostage situation.
So the monsters are the suspects, at least. And what group orchestrated the kidnapping?
Space Godzilla.
And where is Manila being held?
Space Godzilla.
This seems fun. Anyways, do you have any? You said you had another thing that wasn't news.
It's not news.
Oh, these right here.
So
yes.
Here's the context. So a friend of ours got married, redacted name, and his wife is also a friend of ours, redacted name.
No, we can. Bryson, he listens to the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations on getting married.
Bryson.
He the night before the wedding, we were hanging out, and he actually mentioned the podcast. He talked about how Athena forgot to edit out us saying a certain city name.
Oh shoot.
Which I've since gone back and corrected. So thanks, Bryson, for being our fact checker.
Yeah,
better
assistant editor than Peanut. That's
very
for sure.
Yeah, way better.
But so when friends of mine get married in another city or town, I do this thing where I'm like, I might as well look around to see what kind of collectible shops are in the area, because I'd also never been to this town before, and I showed up to this collectible store, and I'm dressed for a wedding. Now it's not like black tie wedding, but I'm dressed nice. Mm-hmm. I got my makeup done. I have a dress. I look very ladylike. I walk into this collectible store, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, action figures. And I'm like, all right, this is my vibe. It is me, the 40-something-year-old man who I'm guessing owns it, and some other guy, either late 20s or early 30s, and me. There are 3 people in the store, and it's me, and I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, hi, I'm just looking around. I make my way around. In the back corner, there is probably, it's the back corner, 8 feet corner and another 8 feet of just Black Series figures, floor to ceiling. This is like my dream. I'm a lot pickier on the figures I buy now. I'm not a collect every single one that comes out, just because I don't care that much about every single figure. But here's the deal. I see one figure that I know I wanted. 99% of these figures have no prices on them. And here's the deal. I don't like when stores don't have prices on things. I don't know if maybe he just moved to like locations, because there's a lot of stuff that needed to be organized, and maybe that's just the vibe he puts in his shop. Totally fine, whatever. And so I walked around, I wandered, I picked a couple things up and put them back because they didn't have prices on them. Did a couple price checking of my own. Because the dilemma is, you want to shop local, but if you don't have your prices listed,
yep.
I don't want to have to go up to you and ask how much it is, and then have to make the awkward decision of, oh, no, I don't really want to buy it for that price. The whole time I'm wandering, the owner and this guy are arguing about Pokemon cards. Like the whole time. And the other customer is like, well, if there was Star Wars cards, I'm sure you'd be all over them, but you won't get Pokemon cards. And they're just going back and forth. And I was like, I'm not going to get into Pokemon cards. He's like, well, you'd make a lot of money. I'm not going to get into Pokemon cards. And so all that to say, I did not end up buying from him. But if I'm back in the area, I would like to go again. And then, he's like, what are you in town for? I'm like, I'm in town for a wedding. I have a friend. And I leave. The reason I also didn't buy, so the figure I saw was the Black Series figure of KB from Skeleton Crew.
Young girl who's like cyborg.
Yeah, and I actually haven't seen the Skeleton Crew figures actually in store, but I looked them up online and I could get them through a different retailer for $14.50. Are you judging my ethical purchases?
No. I mean, the fact that, I don't blame you.
Judging my ethical purchases.
Saying.
So, I bought KB from large box retailer for 14 something. And I also bought Fern for also 14 something.
Cute.
And so I got essentially 2 figures for the price of one. And you can help me in the comments about shopping local and supporting local. But here's the thing. I know they got to make money, but put your prices on it.
Yep.
I actually think if the prices had been on it, I probably would have been like, okay, I'll buy this.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Anyways, all that to say, the impulse purchases, they got me. Phenomenal wedding.
Some very slight podcast content at the wedding. The wedding took place in a local museum.
I forgot about that. I took a photo of
And
it.
Rachel and I were wandering around in the upstairs section, the museum section, and next to each other was a photo of the Hoover Dam and a photo of the pyramids of Giza. And if you know anything about the Transformers films, the first two, the pivotal, the key scenes are centered around these two monuments. That they're hiding, both locations are hiding something Transformers related.
And we saw it, 30 seconds after you had said, do you think there's anything podcast related here?
Yeah. In a totally different pivot.
Us pivoting?
On the topic of animation. Instagram will oftentimes show me clips from old cartoons and stuff. And a clip from this show called Time Squad came up. And I recognized it, but I never actually watched this show. If I'm remembering, I think the main reason I recognize these characters is I think that Subway had toys of this cartoon at some point. Actually, I want to see if I can
Throwback to when Subway had toys. Throwback to when Subway was decently priced. $5 foot long. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, there's definitely toys. Are they Subway? Am I right? I was right. Wow, that's a deep memory.
What year did this show come out?
The toys were from 2002. The cartoon is from 2001 to 2003. It says here. It was a Cartoon Network show. The reason I bring it up,
there's some crazy old Cartoon Network shows that just show up in your subconscious every now and then, 100%. And you're like, is that a fever dream? Or was that correct? Is something I witnessed?
I'm definitely used to pulling up an IMDb for a cartoon. And being like, oh yeah, there's all the usual suspects here. This cartoon is all the usual suspects in recurring characters. Three top credited actors. Rob Paulsen, the man. He's the Animaniacs. He's Pinky in the Brain. I think he's just Pinky looking at this. He's Yakko from the Animaniacs. He does Donatello a lot. He's just one of the... What? He's just one of the voice actors of the 90s and 2000s.
Have you seen Rob? Isn't he also Carl Weezer from...
Oh, is he? Oh, let's check it out.
Have you seen the clip of Rob Paulsen doing the Anakin Obi-Wan exchange from Revenge of the Sith with Seth MacFarlane as Chris from Family Guy?
I don't think I have.
Do you wanna?
No, I don't.
Oh.
This is hilarious. In an animated TV movie, Lego Star Wars The Padawan Menace, Paulsen was the voice of Commander Cody and George Lucas.
The range.
Okay. Jimmy Neutron, that's what we're looking up. He is indeed the voice of Carl Weezer Jimmy. That voice. You should know from this side. If you
Jimmy's
know, you know. A bunch of The Land Before Times.
Oh, hey, do you know there are 23, 24 of those movies? They're dinosaur films.
Nah.
You can watch them.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways, what one? That's just one. Mark Hamill. Obviously. Pamela Adlon had showed up on this podcast previously because she's the mom in Bumblebee, but she's also the voice of Bobby Hill.
Is she still Bobby in the reboot?
Yes, it says here that she is. So she has to play grown-up Bobby. Now, that's a voice acting challenge, I'm sure.
I've seen clips. I haven't watched it in its entirety because I don't know. There's something. I think animation can go too far. And
Has animation gone too far?
And the charm of King of the Hill is the paper-drawn old cell. It's too smooth now.
Sure.
Call me a boomer, but it's just not. It's not like it was back in the day. I say as if I was allowed to watch it when I was a kid.
So that was the top 3 actors who are on every episode. But then reoccurring actors include Darren Norris, who is
That's
Cosmo.
That's Cosmo and Timmy Turner's dad from Fairly
Yes.
Odd Parents, and that's Knockout from Transformers Prime.
There you go. See, Rachel knew it off top of her
I knew
head. She already knew. Iconic
The brain
voices, man. This is crazy. You got Gray Delisle, Delisle.
Delisle?
Delisle? That makes sense. Voice of RC in Revenge of the Fallen.
For a whole 2 lines.
Yeah, that's true. Consistent voice of Catwoman. Just if you just look at her IMDb, just in everything. And she is. Never mind. She was in Animaniacs, but not a main character. I feel like she has another really famous one.
I feel like my parents would love if we covered Animaniacs on the podcast.
Maybe.
Not that my dad listens.
Yeah. Then you've got Kevin Michael Richardson. He's in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen as well. He's Gantu and Lilo and Stitch. Just, again, reoccurring.
Oh, he's in all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob.
Also in Transformers.
Bob Joles. Now, this is a name I did not recognize, but once I clicked on him, been in a ton of stuff I know. He's played J. Jonah Jameson and stuff.
J.J. Abrams.
He's the dad in Big City Greens, which is a great cartoon if you've never watched. There was one other big one that I recognized. What was it?
I feel like Big City Greens was like the time I just didn't watch cartoons.
Oh, no, it's like from like the 2020s, so it makes sense.
2018.
Oh, really? It's that old? I thought it was a little bit newer than
That's
that.
what
But
Google
anyways,
says.
Good show. And then Jeff Bennett, the voice of Johnny Bravo and Yosemite Sam.
Wow.
And Kowalski in Penguins of Madagascar. So just
Stacked.
insane cast of
What a
animated
stacked
voice.
cast for such an obscure show.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is the fact that they got everyone in on this one. And every time I look at a cast like this, it just makes me so bummed that we don't get movies cast like this, animated films cast like this. It's
Instead,
such a
it's just
bummer.
Chris Pratt 47 times.
Precisely. And Zendaya. The number of animated movies she has done is wild.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my last bit of news, I think. Let me double check. Yes, that's everything. Do you have anything else before we go to our tangents?
That's it, brother.
Okay. Would you prefer to go first or second on your tangent?
I don't think mine will be as long.
Okay. I mean, so do you want to go first then?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I want to know what they are.
You don't get to know what it is until I start talking. Though mine isn't like this big. Mine is like multi-bullet pointed, so it's not like my topic is not that interesting. I think it's more my points I'm going to make are more the tangent. It's up to you.
So today for my tangent, we're going to be addressing Christ-like figures in some of the media that we have covered on this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And why, when compared to the real thing, they're actually quite counterfeit.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to start off with is Star Wars because I thought it was actually kind of interesting. And there are actually two characters I wanted to talk about that kind of handle both sides of the aisle. I want to talk about Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. So I'm going to start with Anakin. So you kind of have some similarities. Is Anakin seen as like the Christ-like figure? And a lot of it comes from, obviously, his existence. A seemingly virgin birth.
Yep.
Of some... I'm talking specifically...
Divine force.
Some divine force, no father, showed up, existed, and is this chosen one that's supposed to bring balance.
Is born in a very unexpected place that no one is looking for someone special to come from.
Yeah. So
The establishment's trying to take him down.
yeah,
Satan is constantly trying to tempt him.
the villains some people argue the villains in Star Wars are organized religion and dogmatic practices that lead to legalism. And so
They're stacking up.
And as Anakin gets older, obviously, it's very clear that he is less like Jesus Christ because
Yes.
he falls victim to the dark side, which he's murdering people. Jesus didn't do that. Correct. Jesus did not murder the men, the women, and the children. Murders people, falls to the dark side. And that's where I kind of want to pause him for there. I guess you could say in a way he was resurrected, but he was not resurrected in a positive light. He's almost a prisoner of his own. He's a prisoner of his own actions.
Yeah, but he's kind of resurrected twice. He's
That's my point.
Okay. All right. I don't want to step on your point. That's your tangent.
So now I'm gonna pivot in my tangent to Luke Skywalker, who was not born of a virgin birth, but born in the backwoods of the universe on Tatooine, farmer, very humble origins.
Well, if we want to be super technical, it's a tangent episode. I would not normally correct you, but it's a tangent episode. He was not born on Tatooine.
Okay, he was.
But he was born in the
raised.
backwaters of the galaxy.
So I guess technically speaking, then he was born on a ship and then lived in the backwaters of the galaxy, whereas Jesus was born in a manger in Bethlehem and was then raised in the backwaters of Judea at the time, Nazareth.
Correct.
Thank you for cheers. And so Luke Skywalker, humble origins. Also, the secondary at this point in the Star Wars world, the chosen one. Anakin did not bring balance. He technically kind of brought balance to the Force.
Yeah, I would say he did. In the end, he's the one who does it.
In the end, he does. As we see with Luke goes throughout his Jedi ways, and he's able to resist the temptation from the dark side in the original trilogy. Not to say the temptation isn't there, but he's able to resist it from joining Darth Vader to rule the galaxy with him. And even when he is fighting Palpatine at the end, he doesn't really let his anger get a hold of him. He realizes it before it happens. His kindness and love end up redeeming Darth Vader. And Darth Vader is then encouraged to kill Palpatine to save his son. So there's this redemption aspect where they are both redeemed. That would not have happened without Luke, and obviously Vader dies, which, maybe the best case scenario considering how long that space trial would have gone on with the New Republic. That would have been a rough one to sit through. No unbiased way for a jury there. Would have been insta-guilty. Just execute him there in the courtroom. Don't you let him go. But so you kind of have these parallels of redemption and good and the fight against evil. That's where I'm going to pause for the Star Wars.
Okay.
And now we're moving on to my next one, Optimus Prime.
I had this thought just about 30 seconds ago. I was like, hold on, Optimus is definitely on this list because for one very main reason. But continue.
So the biggest reason that I bring this up is in almost every single iteration, Optimus Prime dies in some form of sacrifice for his people, and he dies, and he's resurrected by the deity of that universe, Primus. Honestly, you see it in Transformers.
Wait, are you implying that Shia LaBeouf is the deity of the Bayverse
Oh God!
universe? Because he's the one who brings it back, kind of.
I think he's the vessel.
Yeah.
I don't
sure.
think he's not the deity.
Yeah, it's the prime. Like, okay, hold on. Never mind. No. What is
ask
a tangent?
me,
It's
ask
a
me.
no. It's a
I know
tangent
the
episode.
lore.
It's a
I know
tangent
the
episode.
lore.
This
Ask
is
me.
relevant. So, Sam Witwicky, he almost dies, and he goes to Prime Heaven, and has a vision of all the primes,
Except
and
for
then he comes
except
back.
for Satan.
and then the key. I'm trying to remember the timeline of the movie. Is the key already destroyed by that point? Because they
Yes.
find the key and it
dissolves.
and he puts it in a bag, and then he realizes he can just dump that fairy dust on Prime and it saves him. So it's the key that saved him technically, but what imbued the key with that ability? Does that explain?
This is a really good question for someone who has watched Revenge of the Fallen at any point recently, which is something I really try to avoid doing for the most part in my life.
Excuse me.
I think it was his. Was it quite literally his willing sacrifice, or his loyalty, or something?
Whose?
Sam's.
Probably.
That the primes are like, thumbs up, my guy. But so that's the main thing. He's very much a Christ-like figure in the self-sacrificial leadership. Where's her hard? I lost my tangent. It's gone. I don't want to say loyalty, determination in doing what's right, even if it's not a popular choice, by whatever, insert continuity standards there. And then the big thing is that he dies and is resurrected by whatever deity. It is very clear. If you've watched any form of Transformers media, that's the Christ figure of Transformers media.
Yep, 100%.
The other one I kind of wanted to talk about is Superman. Superman is also a very Christ-like figure in that he. I'm not as well versed on Superman, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Happy to. Don't worry. Don't even worry about it. I will.
I am a Batman girl. But similarly, raised in humble origins, in the backwaters of the United States, Kansas. Gosh, I'm so sorry for him. Very, very humble origins, moved to a big city. You can make the comparison, moving from Nazareth to Galilee and then Jerusalem. That was at the very end of Jesus' ministry. Superman doing just everything he can to help everyone and being as best of a person that he can be. And we relate, I think it's interesting that we relate all these characters, we call them Christ-like figures, but they're missing something. They're actually, I think it's such a very societal view to call them Christ-like figures without actually addressing anything other than, they died and came back. The reason I wanted to discuss how these are counterfeits is that, yes, they have good traits. Anakin totally deserved a court trial. Just throwing that out there. They have good traits. They're the heroes. They're the good guys. They care for people. But I almost think you can call me a boomer, you can call me a hot take. We can call them Christ-like figures, but they absolutely pale in comparison to the actual Christ. First of all, they're not real.
Well, that certainly plays a part in it.
Second of all, Christ is more than just, everyone's like, he's a good guy. He is the good. As we've talked on this podcast before, the idea of goodness comes from God, like the ultimate source of good and good standards. When people are like, oh, that's a good thing, like that's the good the morality is based off of. And he's true good. He makes no mistakes. He is perfect. And so I think it is interesting how in society, how easy it is to be drawn to these Christ-like media figures. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I love them. But then people are going to be like, well, the Christian thing isn't my whole deal. And it's because it conveniently leaves out the idea of repentance. Everyone loves the idea of redemption. I love it. We've talked about this in the past. I love me a good redemption story, but people are scared of the soul work of repentance because, one, then they have to acknowledge that they are not the highest power in their lives, that there is something else in there. And that means they have to relinquish some of that control. Because not only was Jesus just a cool guy. That's how the history, channel talks about him. Like, he's just this guy who did some cool stuff. And it's not really the argument of whether he existed. It's the argument of people don't want to accept him as who he said he is, as the Son of God, as the second authority. And so my whole tangent was just to say, if you like these characters and you don't know Christ, he's a way better example of these Christ-like he is the source. He is the source of Christ-like media and figure, very obviously in name. But you can always apply this title to characters. It's always going to fall short because it's not the actual Jesus Christ that they are emulating. And that's really kind of my tangent. I had no notes, but I wanted to talk about that.
No, it's good stuff. I mean, it's certainly true. And I think it is important to see these parallels because it kind of reinforces how influential Jesus' narrative is on our storytelling. And but also to always remember, both fictional and real, all of our heroes are going to fall short in some way. Which is normally what is good storytelling. You want your heroes to fall short in fiction, but there's a reason why Jesus does not himself. Yeah, good stuff. I like it a lot. I'm trying to think if there's any others that pop off my head.
I was trying to think of ones that we had specifically covered. I wouldn't know if I would consider Godzilla a Christ-like figure unless you consider the legendary verse. But he doesn't ever he gets injured. He doesn't really die.
Yeah.
If anything, you have Dr. Serizawa who sacrifices himself for Godzilla in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I guess if you just go in the route, not of necessarily direct parallel to Christ, but savior, a savior figure, he certainly is an interesting one.
I mean, and then you have fictional characters of things we haven't covered, things of very obvious relations to, like, inspiration from scripture, such as the Chronicles of Narnia with Aslan, and I'm losing my voice, and Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, which are not things we've covered.
To go back to talking about the matrix of leadership in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, two things. One, the TF Wiki page, which is notorious for its bizarre captions and its photos. For some reason, all of the captions are Empire Strikes Back quotes. It's really strange. It's really,
Is it because
really
it's
odd.
considered the bad sequel of the trilogy?
My guess is just because it's the second one, is my guess. Even though there's not really, I think they're trying to make this argument that it's like they're similar, but man, are they not? I would argue. Anyways, to answer the question about the Matrix leadership and how it brought Optimus back to life, I did forget that it does reform. He doesn't just sprinkle the dust over his body,
yeah.
but it does reform after Sam, quote unquote, dies.
Yeah.
So Sam also goes through a parallel narrative of also dying and coming back. Anyways,
Iron Giant.
Oh, that's a good
He's
one.
more of a Superman, but
he does come from the stars. He is, like, murdered by the people and he dies to save them. But then it is implied that he'll come back. And he does touch the heart of a young boy. So
all that to say,
than a lot of these.
all that to say, we believe Christ is Lord on this podcast.
Amen.
And he loves you and came to rescue the world from their sins.
And if anything, fictional parallels to Jesus oftentimes help us understand. You can use them. They can condense a certain element and can also illustrate how it can go wrong. I think Anakin as a savior figure is really fascinating because of his downfall and eventual. He's like Jesus and Satan kind of rolled up to him, but he's also like emblematic of humanity. And the fact that Luke, I mean, I think there's so many elements of that original trilogy that are easy to take for granted because we all grew up with it. But like Luke saving Vader at the end is a beautiful thing. It's so good. And yeah, it feels kind of inevitable, but it's still like, especially once you add the prequels in there, it's a beautiful arc that it took. Luke was the one that he needed.
You may even consider Anakin a Paul kind of figure. Saul. Except his redemption comes at the very, very end of his life.
Sure. Yeah. It's possible.
He dies before you.
But all that to say, there's a lot of things about Star Wars people don't give enough thought to. And so what I wanted to talk about is I feel like consistently people are constantly complaining about Star Wars and calling things plot holes or calling them bad writing. But in doing so, they actually show that they were not paying attention.
Ooh, go on.
And I have 4 main points. Actually, no, sorry, 3 main points. 4? 1, 2, 4. Okay, 4 main points. A lot of these are going to come across as just me defending the sequels, which I will gladly do. At least I will gladly defend 7
company.
and 8. But it actually is, these things are pretty consistent across all Star Wars films. They're just probably the most extreme in the sequels for 2 reasons. One, people love to complain about the sequels the most right now. The last 10 years now. It's been 10 years this year since Force Awakens came out. So they're obviously going to be the most obvious that, oh, you're defending the sequels. Not necessarily. But also, sequels inherently always raise the stakes. They always are a more extreme version of their predecessor. The prequels are a more extreme version of the original trilogy, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but they are. See, anytime more movies come out, they're always going to raise up the stakes. They're going to heighten things. So problems with the logic of the magic and just the way the Star Wars universe functions is gonna be more obvious in the sequels because things are more extreme and they're heightening things, and the force powers are gonna be more dramatic, and the technologies like there's more of it. So there's gonna be more space for errors. So there's gonna be these things are gonna come out more things that look like errors that need more explanation. Regardless, these are things that I feel are not necessarily explained by expanded universe things, but are explained in the movies themselves if you're paying attention. Let's start with... so I've got 2 that are directly from the sequels. One that's broad, one that's kind of in the middle. We'll start with this one, really broad one. Characters don't have enough training. This is most frequently thrown at Rey. But if you look at it, especially in the first film of every trilogy, each of the 3 main heroes do insane things that they shouldn't be able to do. People excuse Anakin because he's the chosen one. People, I think, excuse Luke because he's the main character.
Because they're boys.
And yeah, exactly. And yes, the things Rey does, she does receive technically less training in Force Awakens, no training at all, and does some more extreme things as far as the Force is concerned. But let's look at the facts. 1, Anakin being able to drive a pod racer should not in any way translate to him being able to fly a starfighter incredibly successfully. And he's able to just naturally read off the test. There's a test in that movie. They literally test him.
It's like a Rorschach.
And he's able to... he's either reading Mace Windu's mind, or he can just see what is on the holographic display that Anakin he cannot literally see. That's an incredible ability. That's wild. That alone would prove that he's force sensitive. And he's able to do that with zero training. That's an incredible power. We don't see a lot of Jedi at all able with that level of cognitive ability. It's insane. Luke blows up the Death Star. And yes, there is the throwaway line that, I used to bullseye womp rats in 1916 back home. But again, that is the equivalent of like a crop dusting plane. Does not translate at all to a freaking not aircraft carrier, but no, it doesn't. No, so the plane, the ship he would fly, is equivalent of a biplane, and what an X-wing is a jet fighter. Not the same, but when Obi-Wan tells him to use the Force to literally guide the missiles into the shaft and then down the shaft in a perfectly straight line, that is an incredible Force ability, and he barely had any training with Obi-Wan.
While the Death Star is moving how many miles through space per second?
Yeah. So Rey is not the only one. Jedi do this. And the point here is, not that any of these are wrong, but that it consistently, we see that the Force, yes, you can train to heighten your skills, you can train to focus your skills, but really the training is not about the skills. The training is about guiding your mind and your soul. That is where the power comes from very consistently.
Well, and I think the other thing that's argued with Rey is like, well, who taught her how to fight? She's lived on Jakku for herself. Jakku, I don't know. By herself for years, and she's already used a staff for defense, for survival. It may not be that it's probably not that big of a stretch to give her a sword, and she'll figure it out.
No, 100%, absolutely. And the point from my point being that the movies consistently show the Force is something that living creatures have naturally. We see animals able to use it. It's just part of life, and so it's much less. Yes, you have to be Force sensitive. That is a prerequisite. Other than that, people are just able to use the Force, and it's much more a reflection of you as a person. Mm-hmm. It's a reflection of your heart. It's a reflection of your intentions, and that is the dark side of the light side that you tap into, and you see, and animals are able to naturally, and I tap into it. And I feel like that's a reflection of the people who are closer to the Force. They're closer to needing it. They're closer to just like a natural way of living, as opposed to, I feel like you could argue that like the reason Jedi have to train so hard to use the Force is because they're taken away as children and they don't get a chance to naturally develop into a way that would allow them to use it, as opposed to Anakin, Luke, and Rey, who were not taken away as children. They become actual people, and that allows them to have a naturally strong connection to the Force. That kind of pivots nicely into another example of this, of that the Force is much more about your intentions. Because also, you take it metaphorically, the Force is about people's passions, their skills, and how what you want to accomplish in life can be used for good or evil. And so it's a much more metaphor for people using their imagination, using their abilities, using their like kind of life force for things. To get more specific, people constantly complain about Rey beating Kylo at the end of Episode 7. This annoys the crap out of me because the movie is, I forgot to set this up. This whole tangent is really about people's lack of
paying attention.
Lack of media literacy. People do not know how to read a film. If it's not like overtly stated, even though it practically is overtly stated in a lot of these instances, if it's not like a character doesn't literally say it, they act like it's not there. Two things.
The art of people have taken the phrase show, don't tell, and ran with it. To the fact that if it's not plainly spelled out visually, they're like, it didn't happen.
I see. Yeah.
They call, look, there's a difference between info dumping and exposition, and some movies don't do exposition very well. Mm-hmm. However, characters having a conversation about a topic is not info dumping every single time.
But in this instance, it's much less dialogue and much more being shown. There's two major reasons why Rey is able to beat Kylo. One is very practical. Kylo just got shot, which people love to ignore. But if you watch the movie goes out of its way to show you how powerful Chewbacca's bowcaster is.
Yeah.
So that when Kylo gets shot with it, it does demonstrate how powerful he is, but it also shows that he just took a lot of physical damage. It even reminds you of this when Rey shows up and he's punching his side and blood is going everywhere. You could not be more obvious in this unless he just literally said it, which they're trying to make a good movie. Yeah. And so people love to ignore these facts. So one, he's been physically injured. Two, emotional damage. He just killed his father that we know is a huge conflict. The movie did straight up spell out that he is pulled to the light side. And so when he killed his own father, that was hard for him. And again, I said, if you've watched Star Wars, you know emotions play strongly into the Force. So Rey is about to lose. She's on the back foot, but when she decides to lock in and focus on the good feelings, she's able to overcome Kylo's bad feelings. That's what Star Wars is about. Love overcoming hate. It's that simple. So that's the one that really bugs the crap out of me. And
because was it 10 minutes earlier we see the bowcaster send that stormtrooper down the flight of stairs?
Yeah, there's multiple times we see the bowcaster, and Han, every time it happens, Hans comments on it. Like, the movie is directly drawing your attention to the bowcaster and how strong it is. People just don't want to pay attention. People just want to complain about Episode 7. Complain
y'all
about
don't
Rey.
want to listen. Y'all just want to dance.
Yeah, y'all don't want to. Just want to dance. Anyways, no, this one is more subtle, but it is something that people want to complain about, but don't actually want to interrogate. Maybe they had a reason behind this choice. Maybe this creative choice has a purpose other than when Luke isn't the most powerful being in the galaxy. People keep arguing Luke wouldn't abandon the Jedi Order. One, people change. People, human beings, especially as we see.
Over 20 years?
Do you have an older man in your life? Do you have a father or an uncle or a grandfather or a politician who started making bad decisions after they turned 60? I do. I have multiple in my life. Look, and I'm not saying this is every single person, but there's a thing that happens that as people get older, they become selfish and they get cranky. It's like to act like the Luke at the end of episode 6 would never ever change, would not make, especially after, oh crap, things went wrong because of me. He blames himself. He's self-pitying. Now, this is a choice. What I think, though, people miss is the underlying subtlety of one reason why Luke does what he does, and it's because it's an intentional direct parallel to Obi-Wan.
I was going to say, if you watch it, Yoda and Obi-Wan both went into self-imposed exiles.
Yes.
That's what he knows.
Now, the circumstances are different. They do that knowing Luke and Leia are around. They do that knowing there is a hope on the horizon. They don't abandon the Jedi Order per se, except for Obi-Wan kind of does in the Obi-Wan show. Now, that is Disney Star Wars, but we see it is logical to assume in the 19 years in the desert, Obi-Wan went through a crisis of faith at one point, if not multiple times. That is an easy thing to say. What we get is the Obi-Wan at the end of episode 4 is the same Luke that we have at the end of episode 8. We just get to see Luke go through that process. Obi-Wan does not go through this process because episode 4 is not Obi-Wan's movie. Now, this is not a fan theory. The movie Last Jedi is subtly telling you this. One, Star Wars is full of parallels all the time. So you got to go into a Star Wars sequel thinking, what are they, for good or for ill, what are the parallels here? 2, he looks like Obi-Wan. He has the beard. Luke did not have a beard last time we saw him. Now he does. 3, he's gone through the same thing Obi-Wan did. Obi-Wan trained a guy who was supposed to be the next big powerful guy who just solve all their problems. Oops, nuh-uh. I, as the master, messed up and did not see who this guy was until it was too late, and now he killed all the other Jedi and is now Space Hitler. That is true about both Anakin and Kylo, and therefore true about Obi-Wan and Luke. The exact same thing happened. And then what I think is the most subtly obvious line in Last Jedi that makes this obvious is that when telling Rey the story of what happened and why he chose to stop being a Jedi, Luke, he says, a Jedi allowed Darth Vader to happen. He doesn't specify. He says a Jedi. Who's that Jedi? It's Obi-Wan. He won't even say his name. All this to say, Luke does what he does because of his own guilt, and he blames. His closest father figure is Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is the man, other than Owen, who practically raised him, and especially as a Jedi, is his spiritual father. The other small detail I'll add to this is I think it's very telling that Yoda is the one who shows up, not Obi-Wan. Even though he sees Obi-Wan, the only time we saw Luke see Yoda's spirit is at the very end of episode 6. Before that, he saw Obi-Wan's spirit quite a few times. So logically, it'd make now. I'm sure it's more of like we can recreate Yoda. We can't recreate. They didn't want to bring. It would have been great if they brought Ewan back. But what I'm saying is, you can. Now I'm extrapolating a little bit. But what I'm saying is, there's all these little keys that show people don't directly see the parallels between Luke and Obi-Wan.
I remember watching The Last Jedi for the first time and going, "Oh, he did exactly what Obi-Wan did." Yeah. I caught it immediately. I said, "This is par for the course for Jedi at this point." And I think a lot of people are like, Luke never would have drawn a blade. And it's like, well, also people do change in 20 years. And he very clearly regrets it. And he very clearly speaks that he let fear get a hold of him.
Yeah, he directly says that it was a moment of weakness. He explains it.
He says it was a moment of weakness. And he very clearly regrets it. And I always felt bad for
Kylo?
Ben, that's his name. Yeah. For Ben, because I'd probably run away too. Well, also Ben crashed out and killed everyone, which is a whole. Which I'm not excusing that, but I always thought the unreliable narration was very interesting in that film. Not unreliable. The views. Yeah,
you get Kylo's view. You get Luke's view, and then you get a more accurate representation of what actually happened, which was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. And so I remember watching this and going, he just did what every other Jedi that he knew did. He has no connection to the Coruscant Jedi Temple where there were thousands of Jedi there at once doing whatever they wanted. He knew 2 guys, and he knew something bad happened that resulted in Darth Vader, who went into self-imposed exile.
Yep. No, dude. I mean, I think you're totally right. And we see, just as a slight tangent, we're on a tangent episode, tangent of a tangent, to say that Luke would never have the inclination to kill Kylo. Not the identical, but Obi-Wan did not want Anakin around. He kept telling Qui-Gon, this kid is dangerous. He straight up says that in Phantom Menace. And then now this is not identical, but similar, Mace, very willing to just kill Palpatine. Now, he was right.
He should have.
I agree with him, but also it is against the Jedi Code, though, as well. Like, you're in this weird in-between space of, but that is to say, of when Jedi see something they know is dangerous, they are very hard-nosed about it. Like, you see them react with fear, which is the whole thing that you shouldn't be doing. But to bring it back around, of the reason Luke is the way he is in episode 8 is because he is going down the same. He's in his attempts to not make the same mistakes as Obi-Wan. He has become Obi-Wan. He dies the same way as Obi-Wan by sacrificing himself and fading away. Like it's the same death. And so while Obi-Wan is never overtly described or mentioned in episode 8, people don't take this into consideration when they're reading episode 8 and they just get pissed that Luke is not their Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill doesn't help with this with some of his
I was
quotes.
just thinking that he unfortunately did not help, and then I think backtracked quite a bit when he said, I might want to come back, right?
But thankfully, I think though, again, a tangent, I think that Hamill not liking the script helped with his performance because Luke hates himself. So Mark Hamill playing a Luke that he doesn't like feeds really well into that performance.
Well, I think it's also interesting because when we see the next time we see Luke just like in a Star Wars project, it's at the end of Mandalorian season 2, and he decimates a bunch of robots, and we're like, this is the Luke I know. And it's like, first of all, they're robots.
Yep.
Luke isn't violent. Like okay, he's killed people, whatever. It's also like you see him, it's the guy who went into the Emperor's room and came out with a redeemed Darth Vader. And so I find it interesting when people, they use it a lot with Darth Vader, but they're like, we want a Luke Skywalker show. And it's either him building the temple or him chasing down and murdering Imperials, which is not his thing.
Sure.
I have not played Jedi Squadron or Star Wars Squadrons. I have it. I need to play it, but I know there's a bit with Luke where he convinces an Imperial pilot to help them.
I think that is actually in the Battlefront 2 campaign.
Oh, you might be right.
Which is actually, it's very identical to the Rebels episode.
Yeah.
What's the name? With Callus and Zeb.
Oh, season 2, episode 15. Do that or 17.
What's the name of that episode, though? Like the Beautiful Ones or the... it doesn't matter. Anyways.
It does!
They are in a cave and they have to help each other to escape.
Honorable ones.
They're in a cave and they have to work together to escape, and they come out with a begrudging respect. That is exactly... There's a mission where you are playing as an Imperial in the newer Battlefront 2, and you team up with Luke. I think you play as both characters, maybe, or maybe you're playing as Luke. I don't remember. Either way, you're in a cave. You have to escape together, and you, at least the Imperial comes to have a better understanding of. But as a viewer, you get a better understanding of why someone would be an Imperial from their perspective.
If you read from another point of view,
which I've not.
I have. There are some chapters that you're like, like the 40,000 chapters of every single person in the Mos Eisley Cantina and around. Yeah. But there are some, you read it and you're like, yeah, the Empire was pretty desirable.
Yeah, stability.
Stability. Look, we're not saying the Empire
quote unquote peace.
Quote unquote peace, quote unquote
control.
stability.
Yeah. Especially if you had money.
Yeah, especially if you had money. And if you didn't have money, you could join the Empire.
And you didn't live on Gorman.
Yeah, you didn't live on Gorman.
As long as you were on a planet that they didn't want your resource.
By all appearances, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was their thing. They're like, hey, the Jedi did an uprising. People probably didn't really like the Jedi anyway because of all of the Civil War. They're stealing children.
They did not technically steal children.
I know.
They asked families, and families willingly gave them up.
Yes.
Now, those families were frequently poor families who didn't feel like they had much of an option.
Yeah.
It was an easy way out for their kids, and they probably didn't fully understand what they were agreeing to. But
Or
nonetheless,
if they'd see 'em again.
the Jedi did not steal children.
Yes, I know.
They coerced families into giving them over. That's different.
Yeah. But all that to say, there's this interesting idea of, well, I want Luke to do this, and just genuinely by his character, it's not. It doesn't make sense. I also, and a bit of a side tangent we won't get into, I do think it's concerning how many people want an R-rated Star Wars show that is just Darth Vader like viciously murdering people. You don't want Star Wars. You want violence. That's what it is. You want to be able to go, yeah, he killed those poor farmers. That did nothing. Like that's. Go talk to a therapist. And if you're expecting that out of Luke, I don't think Luke's going to randomly... I don't know. I haven't read the extended universe, so I don't know what inconsistencies they have there. But
Sure. My last point is kind of go the opposite. I talk about villains. Very frequently in Star Wars, we see them having really obvious and minute flaws. The most famous being the Death Star having a small thermal vent that, if shot, blows up the whole thing. People talk about this as a plot point, as a plot hole. They talk about it being bad writing. But if you pay attention, it's actually incredible because it shows, especially the Empire or the Sith, they don't think one small thing can hurt them. They don't. It's oftentimes it's the largeness of the Death Star that is its ultimate weakness. It's that they straight up say in Episode 4, they don't consider a one-man fighter a threat. Otherwise, they'd have a tighter defense. Mm-hmm. It's literally said in the movie, and it is there. You can extrapolate pretty easily from that line that this is a metaphor. This is a theme here that one man can take down the entire Death Star on his own because they don't think that one man is a problem. They don't. It's their hubris that they don't think that they say at the beginning, this is the ultimate power in the galaxy. They think that they've made the best thing ever. It's like almost literally the Tower of Babel going on here.
Or they multiple times it's like, well, it's an old code, sir, but it checks out. People showing up with an old code and they don't do anything. Like, yeah, sure.
Well, in that instance, they ask Vader knows that it's Luke, and he allows it to happen. In that instance,
watched the movies in a while.
But then, like, you see Palpatine anytime he's around. He's so full of pride. The fact that he's working with a half-built Death Star. That's pretty obvious that you don't even need a shaft. You just fly into it. He thinks, there's no way they're going to be able to do it. They don't consider the Ewoks a problem. They get defeated by Ewoks. People consider that a plot thing. I do wish it was Wookiees. I think it'd be better if it was Wookiees, but nonetheless, it is still thematic that the Empire is defeated by native people who are quote-unquote uncivilized with no technology or anything, and they're just pure of hearts.
George Lucas made Chewbacca and then Ewoks. And what was Chewbacca but short? And there were 40,000 of them.
And then, of course...
And it was Vietnam.
Yeah, really. And then we get into the sequel trilogy. People complain so much about Snoke and his death. It's the same thing. He's defeated. He does not think Kylo's going to turn against him. He's reading Kylo's mind in that moment.
He doesn't notice in his peripherals the lightsaber moving.
And it's this whole thing of the villains fall because of their hubris. It's over and over again. Now, you can argue you don't like Star Wars doing the same thing over and over. That's fine. But to act like the sequel trilogy is doing anything different than the original trilogy is not that. It's doing the same thing.
Anakin. Mm-hmm. He lost to Obi-Wan on Mustafar because he tried to jump 30 feet in the air while Obi-Wan famously had the high ground.
But you can't, bro.
But you can't. And
you won't.
And he got sashimi'd.
So all this to say that these are things that I feel like if you're genuinely watching the film, if you're actually paying attention, these very common arguments are not arguments at all because you're just wrong. Now, you can say you don't like these choices. Mm-hmm. That's your choice. That's your opinion. But people try to act like these are things that are objectively wrong with these movies, but are actually intentional choices. So all of that to say, I love Star Wars. It's not always the best written thing, but there are times where it is really good, and people just don't take the time to consider it, or they don't have that. I always say, Star Wars fans are not film fans. They don't understand how cinema works. But Star Wars is a cinema-first franchise, and they are very frequently good movies. Not all the time, but the good ones are not just good pieces of media. They are excellent films, and they're using the narrative of film or the language of film to tell their story, and a lot of people don't know how to read that. And that's not a knock against the average person. It's just when you think you're smarter than the movie and you're not. That's what annoys me.
Self-proclaimed cinephiles. Oh, were you? Oh my gosh. I forgot about this when my mom and I were coming home from our trip last year.
Okay.
And we kind of got on, Mom, you're going to have to message me about this. We started talking about movies, I think. Oh no, we were talking about we had just come from the Hans Zimmer concert. And we were talking, and some guy across the aisle started talking about other composers, and we eventually got on the conversation about Star Wars, and he was like, "Oh, I'm a cinephile," and we were like,
"Oh, I do remember you saying
and we were like, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And because I think, Mom, correct me in our Facebook group chat, he was like so impressed of like our knowledge, which was of genuine basic film knowledge about Star Wars. And it just makes me think of that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I think I told him about this podcast. So if you're listening about this, I'm sorry we've talked about you twice, but
get good, bro.
Unfortunately, it gave me the same vibe as that time I walked into a GameStop and the man was just flabbergasted that yes, I had a membership to GameStop as a woman. It was just the same thing. It's like, yeah, women watch movies. And we know how to pay attention. See, Athena watches movies. She said so, right? Yeah, there she is. It was just like that same, because people are like, I know so much about movies. And it's like, I think there's an aspect where people are almost, let's call it the nostalgia critic effect.
Sure.
The idea of watching a movie for the sole fact of getting a one-up on the director by having funny comments and snarky and thinking.
Sure.
And well, I noticed this has done a lot of damage to just the idea of movies, of going to see a movie.
Yeah, it's also the cinema sins.
I was just about to say that, cinema sins, everything wrong with this movie in 10 minutes or less. And look, we're not saying movies can't have mistakes, and we're not saying movies can't be bad. We'll talk about them if they're bad. And we've talked about media we just don't like. We'll trash it because it's fun.
Yeah.
But there's also an aspect of like, watch it and then take it for what it is, instead of just like going into it with an idea of I'm going to be smarter than the director.
That's a really good point. I like that a lot. I'm looking at my first meme here, and it does remind me. So one thing that is podcast content that has a savior in it is Kung Fu Panda. And he comes from an unexpected place, and he's a chosen one. And the religious / the Shifu, not happy about it. Not happy that this guy is the one who's going to save him. So yeah, some Christ-like elements there. Which transitions us into Meme Minute, but it's longer than a minute. But is it longer than one of our tangents? We'll see. So you have the Kung Fu Panda meme of... is it Tai Lung? Is that the main villain?
Yes.
For the first one? Talking to the... Now I'm going to forget. Is it the... Furious Five?
Yes.
He says, "You think I'm a fool? You are not the Dragon Warrior. None of you are, except for... I know you're not the download button. None of you are." Whenever you're on kind of a shady website and there's like 50 different download buttons. IMDb.
I feel like sometimes just websites at this point have just lowered their ad requirements. I feel
see.
like
Yeah, that is so true. Oh man, no, I have a third-party calculator app on my phone. I opened it today, and the ad was like supposed to be like a message saying there's something wrong with your phone. I was like, this should be illegal.
Yeah.
This is fraud. This is straight up fraud. Anyways, unexpected Kung Fu Panda meme showed up in my feed. I loved it.
I have 2 images, but I probably have more that I've sent on Instagram.
Okay.
This is the Anakin Padme meme from the second movie. It's a picture of Millennium Godzilla. I just killed King Ghidorah. And then Padme with like a Japanese flag over. So we're friends now. Silent Godzilla. We're friends now, right? Godzilla was the villain.
That's so good. This is not, speaking of Ghidorah, this is not a meme, but a very bizarre post that came across my feed that says, "My King Ghidorah costume, happy Halloween." It is a woman in a...
That's kind of cool.
It's one of those, have you seen
cool.
on the internet, it's called like Terrible Taste, Great Execution. She is wearing this it's half shiny, half like hairy dress, and she's made wings, and she has a King Ghidorah mask on her face, and then on each hand. It's very well made. It's just also very freaky and also like weirdly like
uncanny.
Sensual.
The friend that can't handle spicy food. And it's the scene of Shin Godzilla right before he starts vomiting fire.
With all the Cracker Barrel drama recently, this meme, and also a different kind of drama. It's got a battle droid that says clanker barrel.
Have you seen the articles where people are like, people have discovered the first slur for robots?
Yep.
It's like this has been around. This has been around.
This has been since 2008,
This
bro.
has been around. I saw a tweet where someone said very similar, and they said, "We just discovered the first derogatory term against robots," and it had like 5,000 replies, and it was on Twitter. And he retweeted it and said, "I have been informed this originated from Star Wars."
Yeah, we talked about this last time.
Oh, did we?
I am suddenly remembering tangent. Time Squad, the cartoon we were talking about earlier with all the actors, it also has Frank Welker and D. Bradley Williams. Just to add 2 more guys to
They're all
usual
in it.
suspects.
I sent this to the Instagram page, but it is a framed cross stitch that just says, "May Godzilla destroy this home last."
Aw,
I
that's
thought it was
fun.
really fun. Trying to think if there's anything good.
I have a video that I can play for your viewing pleasure, hopefully.
Oh, I found it. I love the Godzilla Toho Instagram. They'll post anything and everything. And it's a picture of Shin Godzilla in his second form, or I guess third form. And it just says, "Every city is a walkable city when you're Godzilla."
So good. So funny. So here's a video of RC. I don't remember who she's talking to. We'll see in a minute.
Everybody should get their blood work done and see what you're deficient in.
Chromosomes.
It's Grimlock the T-Rex. Everyone should get their blood work done to see what they're deficient in. Chromosomes. Really funny.
I love Grimlock.
I have one more video.
Okay.
In this video, it starts with a clip from K-pop Demon Hunters. All the power goes
I
out.
feel like I know which one this one is. Yeah.
And it's the cell phone from Jurassic Park 3, and you see the Spinosaurus off to the side.
I also sent this video. It's the ending of Superman that just came out, where he's spinning around. Spoilers for Superman, where he's spinning around in his chair watching memories of his family, and it's the same video. But the screens are just Godzilla, movies from Godzilla films destroying everything.
It's real good.
I sent it to you.
It's real good. I like it.
It's a good one. It's a good one. 10 out of 10. Godzilla.
Well, thank you for joining us for a couple of tangents. I didn't expect you to go so deep with yours. I liked it a lot. I anticipated another deep Transformers lore.
Deep TF Wiki dive. No,
But that was
I
good. It was
switched
real
it
good.
up.
You did a good job of also bringing in, not just one or the other, but multiple. So good work. I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
I came up with mine at like 5 p.m. today. I just couldn't decide. I really have an idea for a future one though as a result of this. So I think I've already got a head start on the next one. The other one though that I want to do requires some research. So that I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I needed to find like examples.
I thought about pulling my Bible out for this one, but I didn't. I was like, we're going off vibes.
And as always, thank you to Caleb Jacoby for our intro and outro music. Props to Rachel for not bringing her Bible today.
No. You should always have that thing on you.
Props to Athena, our editor.
She's gone. I don't know where she went.
She gone.
She gone.
Give us something to read on the pod. I know some of you guys listen. I know you haven't left a review. Leave a review. It helps other people find the podcast.
If you got married this last weekend and you're listening to this podcast, you have to leave a review.
And we definitely want to hear your opinions. Please. So let us know if you've watched anything relevant to the podcast recently, and let us know what you think, and we'll read it out on the pod, we won't dox you.
Tell us your theology.
Which Christ-like figure is your favorite? Next week, it's also my 30th birthday. We're doing the year 1995 in film, building up to...
Yeah.
not me going to listen to the last episode of the podcast and realizing I never edited it. That's pretty bad.
Oh, no.
Did
you upload it?
Yeah, it's up now. But when we were gonna record last week about Monday, I was like, oh, I need to listen to the last episode, and then I went looking for it. I was like, did I never make it?
The air conditioning. Hold on.
What happened? I don't know. Rachel just yelled their air conditioning and stumbled out of the room.